Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Game Hub. I'm your host, GamerK, and it's time for a top 13 list this week. And I'm going to be doing about one of my favorite series, Assassin's Creed. Now, a good majority of Assassin's Creed games have done very well in progressing in gameplay and mechanics throughout the series. After one game ends, another one does a whole lot better, and that's very evident if you play all the games. However, there are some things that make me think, could this game have been better if some things were added, if some things were changed? And yeah, being the nitpicky guy I am, I had to go through with it and take a look. So, let's get started with GamerK's top 13 missed opportunities in the Assassin's Creed series. Starting off at number 13, something very simple. In terms of everything that I'm going to discuss on this list, Odyssey did a very good job of keeping a very entertaining story, very awesome gameplay, and practically nothing was really a problem except for a couple glitches and bugs here and there, but no crashes. But something that I really missed that even Origins had was the White Rooms. After you kill your main target, there will be that scene where you're talking to them before they die about their role in the plot, a little bit of their philosophy or what they perceive to be of why they were doing what they were doing. And Odyssey had a lot of people, not Templars, but the Order Cult of Cosmos, which I think is a side villain from the Templars, because in one of the DLCs, which I might review next year, the Order of Ancients, which was from Origins, comes in play. So I'm guessing those are the Templars, and the Cult of Cosmos are a completely different villain group altogether. But still dangerous. So there is factions in the Cult of Cosmos. The factions like the Silver Vein, Worshippers of the Blood, things like that. And each one has about five subordinates in each branch of the cult. And after you kill all five of them, each one will give you like information about their leader, and you find the leader, take them out, and then that gives you information of the one who's practically having everything put together, who's the ghost of Cosmos. I'm not giving too much away because it's not that type of video. Okay, it kind of is, but I'm not going to go through so much. But most of the branch members, those are the lesser ones, do play a part in some of the side missions, the story. So you find them throughout side missions and stories. And some of them you find by luck. But I know we can't have a White Room for every single one because, oh boy, that would be a lot. And Assassin's Creed 2 already did a lot of those. What I was thinking, like, the main people, like the leaders of each branch, have them be the main ones to get the White Room. I think it could be interesting. And that's how we find out more about the Ghost of Cosmos, as well as the additional information we get in order to reveal who she is. Yes, it's a she. So I think it would be I think that was a cool opportunity, but sadly, another Greek tragedy that ended with an unused idea. Coming in at number 12. Assassin's Creed 1, 2, and Brotherhood are off this list because of how well they did their games. And I can't think of anything that could have been done better in those games. They were perfect. Revelations, on the other hand, did not finish so well. One of the things is where Assassin's Creed Brotherhood brought a multitude of side missions to do, from the courtesans, from the thieves, from the mercenaries, and from the Templar agent missions. I just wished Revelations had that, because I mean, we had the recruitment missions, which, to be quite honest, were some of the best missions. I mean, we got to recruit certain people with certain backstories, and it was fun talking with them. Although, if you're picking the people to be at the 6 main towers, you're going to need to remember who they were, because I think it makes a big difference having those people because it just seems better. Also, the Piri Reyes missions were the the bomb missions. Those are fun. You got a good couple witty banter between Piri and Ezio, which was fun. You got to figure out how the bombs work. Just wish there was more. And the thief and courtesan missions that happened like in the middle of the game, we don't get any more after that. Like what were they doing? Why bring this in if you're not going to expand on it? So I think that was a big problem. And also, the Templar agent missions? 2 missions a Templar? No! Black Flags did a lot better. And technically so did number 3, having us do little mini missions before we could actually take out the Templar agent. So, yeah, overall, Revelations didn't do the best in terms of side mission expansion. But bigger mistakes were made in the series, so let's continue. Coming in at number 11, Chronicles. Not my most favorite Assassin's Creed game, because they did go in a different take with the art style, gameplay style, and basically the overall design in general. I'm glad each one wasn't their own game, because that would have been a lot of wasted effort, because having all 3 in the same game, but you just play the chapters differently, I enjoyed. We went to ancient China, India, Russia, during when Anastasia was supposedly dead or ran away. I just wish this game had become a full Assassin's Creed game. You know, we go through each time era differently, and each one has a mission. For example, if you finish this mission, it will unlock this mission, and we get to understand more of these characters' backstories. It's just forgettable, because I can't even remember the names of the villains, nor the heroes for that matter. So, cool concept to give us a distraction before the other games come out, but it still doesn't hold well. That's just my opinion. Coming in at number 10. Your game is important if you develop a relationship with the character you play. Because if the game doesn't give a shit about the main character you're playing, why should you care so much or invest so much time into the character if they're not interesting? A lot of games do this, and Assassin's Creed 3 is definitely one of them. But the problem in that game wasn't Connor. Connor was a character who had a certain mission, and yeah, during the side missions of on the homestead, he does show a little personality and a little charm to him. But it's during the main game where he becomes a blank slate the entire game. And nowhere is that more true than the ending of the game. Connor's endgame is by far the biggest problem in Assassin's Creed 3. Because whereas Altair and Ezio got their endings, technically Altair got his ending from Assassin's Creed Revelations in the main missions of the game when you went through his memories, and Ezio got his ending in the short film Embers. Connor doesn't really get that much of an end game. Not a lot of the assassins do, but Connor's is the most underdeveloped, and he deserved to get a good ending. I mean, after the main game, the 2 epilogue missions amount to just watching 2 small cutscenes. In New York, Connor sees slaves still being sold. So he feels like his mission didn't really accomplish much. And then when he goes back to his home where he was defending, he realized that everyone left and moved because he finds an old settler there and told him that things haven't changed. No matter, I mean, it kind of does give a little bit of context to Connor's story. Yes, he fought the Templars, and yes, he won this battle, but to what end? It didn't really change or didn't really keep things how they were. It just goes to show no matter how big a conflict you make something out of, others won't see it the same way, and what you've done would have been for naught. So I think that's what they were going through, but they could have given Connor a more satisfying story. I'll get to that in a later slot on the list. Coming in at number 9, Assassin's Creed Rogue was a big disappointment in terms of a story. Instead of being a Templar right from the get-go, like, that's what I was expecting. I was expecting an assassin hunter. I was expecting a Templar who was given a special mission to eliminate these Templars and, I mean the assassins. And I didn't know that this was taking place before Assassin's Creed 3. So I was a little confused. And it's the shortest game at 6 sequences, and there's definitely not a lot going on in this game. I mean, the side mission and, like, stop the assassins who are attacking you and intercept their transmissions with pigeons and take out their ranks. Oh, and Achilles is in here too, being the villain of the game. But the problem with Assassin's Creed Rogue, other than its story, its side missions, they're non-existent. Pretty much, even though I have side missions down on the list, Rogue is just a missed opportunity in general. I mean, why have this be a prequel to number 3 when we already know what's going to happen? Like, it doesn't matter what we do. I mean, Black Flags was the exception because of how awesome it was. I mean, we didn't know exactly what was going to happen. We didn't. But Rogue there was a chance to do a game where we are a full Templar, not just an assassin who disagreed with what the other assassins were doing, so he defected. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And also, Shay Cormac, badass character. Sadly, he gets the very short end of the stick in this series. And they could have done more, and like my comments of Connor, I'll get more to Shay in another entry. So, Rogue. It had the name Rogue. It should have just been called Assassin's Creed Different Opinions. Because that's what it was all really about. Nothing really spectacular. Okay, coming in at number 8. Liberation was a fun one. Given our first female lead in the Assassin's Creed series. And Aveline was pretty cool. Pretty cool character. I mean, finally a female character who's not going to be a damsel in distress. Or get killed because she's a love interest. But where it goes well in this game, it also the disguise mechanic that they introduced into the game. Yes, it's cool in concept. But the execution, yeah, not so well. Yes, in the game, depending on where you're going and what you're doing, you can either dress up as a slave to blend in, or as a high society, I think the word is dilettante, because it's very fancy where you can pretty much go in and kill the enemy with that way. So it does give you 2 different ways of infiltration. But that's pretty much it. They don't do much else in terms of that. They don't execute it well enough. And that's a disappointment for such a cool mechanic. They don't use it much. They don't innovate it as much as they should have. So, as well as Liberations was, everything else was a bad fit. I'm trying to do as many puns as I can. Bear with me. Coming at number 7. Here's your hint, ladies and gentlemen. Assassin's Creed Syndicate was one of the few Assassin's Creed games that did not have Ezio in it that I really loved. I mean, we had 2 different characters that we could switch, because obviously if you're going to do the brawling missions, better have Jacob. If you're going to be doing the children liberation missions, better use Evie and her stealth mechanics. And the one weapon I really loved, the cane sword. Such a beautifully elegant weapon, but that's not what I'm talking about here. If you're gonna advertise your game, don't put big reveals into the trailer. Of course, I'm talking about the targets, the Templars in this game. Every single Templar you kill in the game is shown in a trailer. I mean, legitimately shown. Names, what they look like, and there's not that many that you think about it, because 2 of them are killed in the first 2 chapters, which isn't really, that's not good. You don't kill off 2 of your main targets in the beginning of the game. Except for Origins, I guess. I mean, yeah, they kind of opened up with us killing a target. But my main point is, Jacob gets the more of the kills. He kills John. He kills 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, and Evie gets stuck with 2, and most of her missions are figuring out what one of them's going to do with the key that they lost, and also her love interest with Mr. Green. Oh my God, come on, guys. I mean, they could have added more. I mean, they could have added more Templars into the game in order to keep it interesting. And okay, yeah, Evie does somewhat redeem that feature with killing 2 extra people, or 3 extra people in the Jack the Ripper DLC, which I want to forget that it even existed, because it was not fun at all. Not that much good. Not fun. I mean, just keep it in the main game. I mean, they could have had a guy at the docks. Okay, granted, one of them was transportation and stuff like that. But still, like, it's the Iron Age of London. There were so many things that Evie could have done to kill. Corruption in the police force. Corruption in the palace. There were so many opportunities, but they nicked it so Jacob could get more of the fighting and Evie gets more of the stealth sections. That was it was a fun game, but still lacking so much on focus on the enemy. So, yeah, Syndicate, it's going to take more than tea and crumpets to get me to forgive Syndicate. All I'm going to say. Coming in at number 6, I don't have that much negative to say about Assassin's Creed Origins. It is one of the best games I ever played for Assassin's Creed. Mostly because how we go way back, way before Assassin's Creed 1 ever did. And we find out the real origins of the Brotherhood. And as many enemies as they had, I loved it. It was a traditional locate your enemy through missions and then assassinate them. And they even included the White Room, which they did it differently, but it was well done. My big problem with it, though, is where's Aya's story in all this? For those of you who don't know, Aya was Bayek, the main character's wife. She later becomes she goes by another name. But you think for a tragedy that affected Bayek, you think we would get her side of everything. And also, when you look at the enemy list of your targets, you notice that 2 of them are already in red because Aya killed them all. No! Why aren't we playing those sections? No, seriously, why aren't there levels, not levels, why aren't there sections for us to play as Aya? I mean, she's in this too. I mean, yeah, most of the time she's with Cleopatra, but that could have been fun too. It could have been Syndicate again. We could have double played as Bayek venturing off to find all the ones who were responsible for the tragedy, and Aya doing her part to do the same, but within Cleopatra's ranks. Like, we could have had her, as she was leaving an area, then Bayek would come, or as Bayek was leaving, Aya would come in, and we do her part of the story. It just seems like a wasted opportunity, because I think I'm one of the few people who loved Syndicate's dual character play, and I think it could have been done in Origins, but I guess they decided the Sands of Time decided to. Okay, yeah, I'm not doing a stupid joke. I'm just saying opportunities were there. It was looking at them right in the face, but they chose not to do it. I'm just glad they didn't do a DLC with it, and all the other DLCs worked with Bayek, so that's perfect. Okay, we're getting to the top 5, people, and boy, usually I save these for the top 3, but the top 5 here are the ones that I think they blew it. The other ones are small things that they could have, like, they obviously couldn't have noticed, they couldn't have decided on until they kind of read someone's comments or videos like this one. But these top 5 are ones that they should have done because it was obvious. Number 5, let's go back to Shay from Assassin's Creed Rogue. Anyone who's played it knows the ending. Shay is the one who killed Arno's father. Shay then said, after hearing that Connor stopped all the work that Shay did in the Colonials, implicating that at this time, Connor has succeeded in rooting out the Templars in the Americas for now. But Shay then says, we'll start a revolution of our own. And that got me to thinking. First off, Francois Thomas Germain, the villain of Unity, so lame. I mean, a guy who thinks he's the ancestor of Jacques de Molay, one of the Grand Masters of the Templar Order back in the day, and he's also a sage because of the 2 different colored eyes. So he thinks he's gonna change the Templars by removing how they working now and go back to the ways of working in the shadows with those who think the way he does. No, not happening. Get lost. Why wasn't Shay the villain? Seriously, in Assassin's Creed Unity, Shay was there in France. Not only that, but he had that, I can't remember his name, that Templar he saved from hanging. We have Mr. Jack Weeks, who we still don't know anything about, even though he has very, very cool shades. I like that about him. Why weren't they in the villains in France? You know, they set up, you know, after they kill Arno, a known assassin, they build their reputation throughout France and align themselves with the Templar branch in France. Like, why wasn't this the whole thing? Because I'm going to get to the other problem of Unity later. But there it was, staring you in the face. Shay, the villain, he's already a Templar master now. Why wasn't he the villain in Unity? It would have been perfect. And we could have gotten a great conclusion. Not only that, but because Arno wasn't as experienced, instead of this Master Pierre Belec or the stupid Mirabeau Assassin's Creed Order crap that was in the game, couldn't Connor have come to hunt down Shay? Because Shay was a loose end in the Americans. He's one of the reasons why Achilles was the way he was. So shouldn't Connor feel a little bit of responsibility to help Arno end Shay? There's your unity. France and American Templars and Assassins. Okay, well, French and American Templars working together. French and American Assassins working together. There's your unity. There is no unity in Unity. I mean, there's broken Unity, but that's it. Why am I the one who's coming up with this? Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. A cheap Canadian production YouTuber, a reviewer, is coming up with better ideas than hundreds and hundreds of million-dollar companies. What does that say about how bad Unity was? A lot, actually. Now, before I continue... you know what? I'm done with this section. I'm going on to the next one. Coming in at number 4 is surprisingly one of the best games, Black Flags. Okay, a couple things I loved about Black Flags. Story was very interesting. Best naval combat in best naval combat in an Assassin's Creed game. Except for Odyssey, that one actually had some good ones too. I mean, but, you know, Black Flags is the best one. The story was really cool. The characters were fun. I could relate to the characters and the strife that they go through. The Templar hunt missions were very cool, being in different sections, and you gotta find them by going throughout this vast ocean of a map. Why weren't there more missions? There are barely any side missions in this game. And with a map this huge in the Caribbean, don't you think we could, like, help people who are struggling because of the Templars, or kill rogue pirates who don't obey the code? Do more stuff like that. I mean, the problem with Black Flags is because even though the map is very vast, and there is stuff to do, like the underwater sections, the treasure hunt missions, there's not much in terms of side missions that have interesting stories throughout it. Like we could have more Templars outside of the ones we had to kill, and outside the side mission ones where we get their keys and we unlock that vault in our hideout. I just think that they could have done more with this map. Now, notice I'm not talking so much about this as being a problem, as this is just an opinion, because the other 3 that's coming up are going to be the most talked about. So, yeah, Black Flags, giant map, cool mechanics with the ship sailing. Definitely could have used a little bit more side missions and side activities to do in general. Coming in at number 3, well, for people who aren't living under an Assassin's Creed-less rock, you all know that the next game is probably going to be coming out next year, and hopefully not just for the PS5, because I'm not getting another one just to play a couple new games. It's going to be set in the Viking Age, which I'm starting to see Assassin's Creed going more towards combat and less to stealth. It's Assassin's Creed, guys, not Barbarians Creed. And this would have been awesome. It's not a nitpick on a game. Like I said, these are missed opportunities. And number 3... why haven't we been set in Japan yet? Feudal Japan. Like, an Assassin's... I mean, we did China. We did India. We did Greece! Which, to be fair, was awesome, because, I mean, I'm Greek, so I gotta say it. But a setting... going back in time again, going to Japan... that would be so cool, have all the architecture, temples, and buildings, and palaces. Have bamboo forests for stealth sections. We can have snakes, tigers, elephants, so many other animals for wildlife. We could have ninja stars, a sickle for combat, a chain and sickle, the katana as our main weapon, and the hidden blade, obviously. And also, think about it. We could have Templars who are geishas, who are using the feminine charm in order to get information. We could have corrupt shoguns who are advising the emperor to go to war when it's only to afflict the Templar agenda. And think about it, for a main character, we could have a kid who was supposed to be executed because... Actually, you know what? We've already done the orphan shtick. I'm just thinking a cool main character could be someone who knows about all the corruption and the Templars, but no one will listen to him because he's a poor kid. So, the assassins take him in and hone his skill and his knowledge in order for him to take back his homeland. Okay, yeah, I'm taking references from a lot of different games, but I think it would be a cool main character. He could be a teenager and not an adult, because I think a teenage assassin would be really cool, you know, against his morality, and he could still be a little bit snarky. We could have bandits. We could have... I'm trying to think of what more we could do. Maybe for each of the main villains, like the ones we take out, their code names are all after Japanese demons. I mean, I think that would be pretty cool and a fun way to bring in the mythology. Well, not the mythology itself, but the references into the game. I think that would be a cool idea. So, please, Ubisoft, if you're watching this, if you're scouring internet for ideas, that one's for free. Assassin's Creed Shinobi. No clue why I did this. I've been seeing too many Naruto videos. Coming at number 2. Adewale was a great character in Assassin's Creed Black Flags. And it's a shame we had to kill him in Rogue. But they did give him his own game, which was downloadable, Freedom Cry, which, honestly, I was interested. First off, Adewale was one of my favorite characters in Assassin's Creed Black Flags, because even though he was working with Edward for a good majority of the game, and he was a slave to begin with, and he wanted to be free, he didn't care for what Edward stood for in the beginning. You know, just stealing just to steal, being a pirate just to get the good life. Adewale sense needed purpose, and that's when he mixed in with the assassins. And he was one of the few people to tell Edward off when he thought he was wrong. So, great character with a moral compass. But Freedom Cry was abysmal at best. Even though it wasn't that much of a game for a downloadable content game. Yeah, the game was pretty bad. Not that much to do in a single island. And the story didn't take that long. I think it was like 5-6 missions max. And the only extra stuff you can do is free the slaves. And I can't remember what else. They should have been more to this. And also, we only get one white room with one main villain, which sucks. And the villain sucked. Seeing him get killed, on the other hand, was very, very satisfying, to showing of how he saw slaves, which turned my stomach. But I think Adewale deserved a full game. A full game that had him going to different islands that Edward did not go, having new problems everywhere he went, solving them. So, I think Adewale definitely deserved his own game, his own full game, and not a downloadable content game. Well, we've reached the number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is. Like I said, I'll be talking about Unity later. So here it is. The one missed opportunity is Arno's motivation in Assassin's Creed Unity. How does this make sense? Just let me play it out for you. Arno is the assassin in the main game. He's in love with Elise, whose father is the Templar Grandmaster. Arno's father was the one who was killed by Shay. And these two, and he was thought to have killed Elise de la Serre's father at a party, but it really was conspirators who were trying to get rid of him so Germain could take over. And then chapters later, Arnaud becomes an assassin and is determined to find out who killed Monsieur de la Serre so he can what? Get in Elise's good graces? What? Why? No. This one I thought a lot about. And it doesn't take a genius to figure that there was something wrong with this. First off, why do we care who killed him? He was a Templar. Just because he was your girlfriend's father and technically the guy who raised you? I mean, what's your motivation for finding his killers? I mean, yes, it did lead you into the bigger conspiracy of the new French Templars, but it's still abysmal at best. There's not that much effort put into here. Here's a better story. When you find out an assassin, why don't you find your father's killer? Which brings me back to Shay being a villain. And, why is Arnaud so focused on finding de la Serre's murderer and not his father's? Does he find out who murdered his father anyway in the game? Do the Assassins League there not tell him who murdered his father? Do they even know who murdered his father? Why is he so focused on finding out all this just to help his girlfriend? There's no real risk in this. Finding out your father's killer would have been a little bit more. I mean, it could have led to a bigger corruption, maybe a corruption in the Assassin's Creed, instead of that god-awful twist where your mentor murdered Mirabeau just because he thought he was wrong about aligning with the Templars. And by that, I mean an alliance, not fully going to them. Oh my god, this Arno's motivation is so flip-floppy. He wants to find de la Serre's murderers because it will mean so much to Elise, and then he's killing the other conspirators because they're corrupting France. No! Focus on your father's murderer. Why didn't you ask the assassins for help? Why didn't you go to other assassins and ask them, like Connor? Also, why does this plan last years? Also, why is it when you kill the main characters, you get to look into their minds and memories instead of the White Room that we normally do? Whose bright idea was this to let you look into their memories in order to find their role in everything, how they got into the Order, and who the other targets are? Why did it take Black Canary 6 months to reach Gotham and harass criminals if she was instantly inspired by Batman's attacks in Gotham? In conclusion, being completely BS, not being stable in its execution. Arno's motivations in Assassin's Creed Unity is the worst possible thing that they did in the series. And I'm including a whole bunch of other terrible stuff they did, but this is the worst because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't progress the story very well. It feels like it comes out of nowhere, and there is no clear end for how he intended this to end. Finding de la Serre's murderer above finding out why his dad died is beyond the most missed opportunity in Assassin's Creed. And even the DLC they had didn't even talk about it. We were just trying to end Napoleon. We didn't need that. We needed to find out what happened to his father, because at the end of the day, it was a missed opportunity that I know will never be talked about ever again. That's the end for this video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining in. Like, comment, subscribe down below. And next week, I end the month of September with a video I've been meaning to do. My first video was my top 13 best villains in video games. And with every good, there's gonna be a bad. That's your hint. This is GamerK, logging out.